When engaging in rideshare, whether driving for Uber or Lyft, one of the most important skills any driver can possess is the power of de-escalation. What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim with another ride-sharing video. Now, this is a story that certainly could have had an awful ending, but it illustrates how important it is to de-escalate. And you're dealing here with a case of a driver that did apparently just the opposite. Comes to you from an article titled, "Convicted Felon Arrested Brandishing a Gun at Uber Driver After Throwing Up During the Ride." Now, we know any of you folks who have done the club crowd, yours truly, I've certainly been out after hours, New Year's, after any late holiday where patrons are likely to be inebriated, likely to have been drinking. Having a passenger throw up in your vehicle is fairly common. Many of us drivers have picked up passengers that are drunk. But keep in mind, some drunks are peaceful and sleepy, others are angry, particularly if they throw up in your shit and you get angry back with them. Here is the details of this story, and you'll certainly hear how the power of de-escalation can be beneficial to a driver. Officers responded to 361 Madison Avenue on February 15th on a report that a man was seen displaying a firearm while in a dispute with his Uber driver. Responding officers reportedly saw Rosado with a pistol sticking out of his pocket. Rosado apparently vomited in the Uber car before getting out and arguing with the driver, police said. The Uber driver alleged that Rosado pulled out a firearm during the altercation. Officers seized the firearm and Rosado was transported to St. Vincent Medical Center for evaluation. Now, we talked about the power of de-escalation. In the story, you can see that the passenger not only vomited in the vehicle, but the story alleges that he is now outside of the vehicle arguing with the driver. Why the fuck is the driver still at the scene? The passenger's outside of your car. Once they start posing an argument, you're certainly not going to get any recourse from that passenger. They're not going to clean up their shit if they're arguing with you. So you have no future business with that passenger. You can report it to Uber or Lyft. We know sometimes they don't give a damn about the drivers as well, but arguing with a passenger on the side of the road is going nowhere. He's not going to clean up your shit. So unless you're going to beat his ass right there on the spot, risking criminal charges for yourself, get the hell up out of there. Or something like this could happen, where the passenger ups a gun on your ass and now you're in a life-threatening situation. So have the ability to de-escalate a situation, such as, look, man, my fault, whatever, I'll take care of it, I'm out of here, if you see a gun or a weapon or something like that. Or, like I stated, there's no benefit to arguing with a passenger at the scene of the issue. They're not going to be of any use to you at all. They're not going to give you any money. They're not going to have your shit detailed. They're not going to help clean it up if they're actively arguing with you. There is a such thing as the angry drunk. Leave dude right where he stands. Simple as that. Continuing on, now, I often advise certainly carrying defensive tools on you. Pepper spray, mace, perhaps something to slice or poke with, which is incredibly important. And if you are comfortable, certainly a firearm should be in your possession. Now, in this case, you got a passenger who probably could have used a good macing to the face. Certainly because the police state that when they got there, they seen a firearm in his pocket or something like that. So he clearly didn't have it in his hand anymore. But obviously, there's reason to be careful with that. Nevertheless, as opposed to having to use a weapon on this angry drunk, could have left him at the scene and took off. I don't know why he would continue arguing, but here's how the story continues. And this shows a lot of the worst portions of this from Uber's perspective and the judicial system in both cases. In both cases, my humble opinion is that they failed both the driver and the public at large. When officers ran the firearm through the state's database, They reportedly learned that it had been reportedly stolen. No surprise there. Rosado, a convicted felon, has no legal right to possess a firearm or ammunition. He was released from the emergency room and transported to Bridgeport Police to be processed. Rosado's bond has been set at $10,000. When I suggest that both Uber and the justice system has failed both the driver and the public at large, you're hearing it both in that article. 38-year-old Alex Rosado. That's a big man. 38 carrying a 38. I think Lil Wayne or someone once used that lyric in a rap song. 38 carrying a 38. By the way, that's a nice looking pistol. Big fan of pistols. 5 rounds there on the screen. Certainly a deadly threat. Whatever. But you're talking about, first of all, when I say the judicial system failed, he's a convicted felon that has no right to be carrying a firearm. Why the hell is his bail set at only $10,000, where he has to pay a small portion of that, and now he's back on the loose again, which the article has made it clear. I think he's already posted bond. He's a convicted felon. That's an issue. Now he's a convicted felon committing an additional felony. That's a second issue. $10,000? What the fuck? That's literally a slap on the wrist. That's how the judicial system failed the public at large, to continue turning folks out on the street like this. How did the driver get failed? A convicted felon is riding around in the back of an Uber. A convicted felon, someone that you or I, if we were someone that possessed his same criminal record, we couldn't drive the damn car, but he is able to easily hail a ride. This is why a lot of drivers suggest that Uber and Lyft should require background checks. This guy could have died. This guy could have been shot to death. Clearly, you're talking about someone who does not legally have a right to own a firearm, doing some really irresponsible shit with the gun that they stole and now have in their possession. So Uber is not doing any of us a favor by literally putting anyone in our cars. No background check on this guy. This is something that would easily come up on any background check. If he's a felon and he's been banned from, being able to possess a firearm or ammunition, this would easily come up. That individual should have been permanently barred from using the rideshare apps before this even happened. But understand, folks, we don't have any control who they send us to pick up. Now, if I'm this driver, claim PTSD and certainly sue Uber, because this is something that should have been preventable. Sue them. If you as a driver did the exact same thing to the passenger, and the passenger found out you were a convicted felon, the passenger would have a lawsuit. So you as a driver should have one as well. So I do believe that this driver, if he's thinking right, should at least press on with Uber. It might be a small settlement, but fact is that passenger had no business being in that vehicle. But last but not least, just wanted to run this video by you to continue to illustrate the value in de-escalating situations. There is absolutely no logic, no value to arguing with a passenger once they is outside of your vehicle. Just drive the fuck off. It could eliminate things like this. And nevertheless, what do I always say? Carry your defensive tools on you. Subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button. Catch you in the next video.
If you're not afraid of a gun, get one. Become proficient. Get a concealed firearms license and carry it. And if you need to shoot somebody, shoot them a lot.